Attention, functional fitness athletes or barbell athletes, every time you work out, your body is telling you secrets that you can use to then improve your performance. That's right, your body is telling you no evals, no money needs to be spent. Your body's telling you what needs to be done. This series is going to give you an insight to those little tips that your body's already telling you. You go to do a back squat and your body's telling you a secret. You start descending down and at the bottom you're coming up and your knees are caving in, you're squeezing, you're trying to get up there. Your body's telling you secrets. And a lot of people at the gym are also telling you a secret. They're telling you, you have to do clamshells. That's happening because your glute med is weak. But here's the thing, you don't like seafood and you rather learn the science and learn truly why your legs are caving in. Stick around and you'll find out. The common suggestion is that your knees are caving in while squatting due to a weak glute medius. You don't want this to happen, so you need to strengthen them and get rid of this valgus. A few important things to learn before we get to the rest of the video. First, knee valgus does not create ACL tears. Instead, dynamic valgus occurs after the ACL has already torn. Secondly, if the valgus occurs at the bottom of the squat coming up, it's not occurring due to weak glutes, it's occurring due to the drive of the adductors and because they are potentially weak or deconditioned. Research has shown that squats are a great exercise that work a lot of muscles through the entire body, but predominantly the adductors, the groin muscles. Cuba et al. 2019 showed that squats are secretly an adductor dominant exercise. Subjects completing full depth squats had a 6.2% increase, half depth squats 2.7% increase in the adductor group, whereas the hamstrings had less than a 1% increase. But back to the glute med conversation, you see what we did there. As the body squats, the hardest part is near parallel or coming up out of the hole. Your body wants to lift, it wants to complete the movement. So it's going to preferentially activate and shift the load away from the working or the weak muscles to the stronger ones. As the knees cave in, femoral internal rotation occurs. This shifts the load to the posterior hip. The body will then use the stretch reflex to use those strong posterior muscles to get out of the harder part of the squat by taking the load away from the adductors that result in that knee talking to each other position. If you want to decrease this from happening, it's not about clamshells, it might be about salmoning, and it's not about glute strengthening, but potentially about adductor strengthening. Now that that's out of the way, let's move and groove into some adductor training. How do we know if the adductor actually needs conditioning? Well, we're gonna look at it. We're gonna assess instead of guessing. We're gonna start by using the Copenhagen plank. If you've seen our other videos, you may have seen this before, but we're gonna show it to you again. It is an awesome way to get a look at the groin and see what are these muscles doing. So if you have a partner, you can use a friend. If not, you can use a box, but I'm just gonna give support here. We wanna make sure the foot's not rolling up because that could happen to try to use the hamstring. We don't want to test the hamstring, we want to look at the groin. So Brandon's going to drive down into my hand. She's going to lift her body up nice and tall into this position, right into that Copenhagen. We're going to see how many reps can she do on one side. Take a good rest break because what ends up happening, go ahead and rest. As she's working one groin from a neurological standpoint, it's called the Ramesses phenomenon. The other adductor is working at the same time. So give yourself a good rest break on this so that you don't bias the results or get a false positive, but test it out and see, do I have less than a 10% difference on one side versus the other side? And how many of these reps can I get in before these muscles start screaming at me? The next thing that we can look at is getting the force output on the adductor group by using dynamometry. Again, we're using a crane scale here, not super expensive to buy. We'll put a link down in the show notes for you to take a look at those. But what we're gonna do, we have it set up to test the adductor. We have the strap coming into the thigh. Brandon's gonna go ahead and squeeze in on that. You can see she's pulling and the numbers are gonna start going up, 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 up. She's gonna pull and we're gonna see what is the max amount of force that she can output with her groin squeezing in. We would take a good rest break and then try it on that other side. Again, we can compare this side to side. We can also compare it to a chart of established norms that are out there to see where does Brandy's groin stack up. The third thing that we're gonna look at is not so much as an assessment, but one of our favorite adductor movements because we're working on our squat and we're getting a little extra work in on the adductor at the same time. So you're gonna want a band, you wanna hook it around a rig or something that's stable. Have your foot on a surface that can slide. We have a furniture slider underneath my right foot, or you could use a washcloth. And we're gonna have a weight that you can hold in a goblet position here, or you could even just go front rack like so. I'm gonna walk out so there's tension on the band. I'm gonna start to squat and let that band pull my leg out to the side. And then as I'm coming up, I'm gonna pull this back in through there. I'm working this groin in the squat. I'm working this groin when I'm pulling back up in against the band. It is a groin burner, but a great accessory movement that you can use to start getting rid of that knee valgus position in your squats. We covered a lot in this video. We covered some misconceptions that are still out there of knee valgus causing ACL injuries, when ACL injuries actually happen before knee valgus occurs. We covered that squatting is an adductor groin dominant based movement, where a lot of people think it's a glute or hamstring dominant movement. Research shows us it's the adductors. We talked about what creates the knees caving in then at the bottom of the squat coming up. It could be from the adductors trying to do too much, or it could also be because they're weak and the body's trying to offload it by sending it to other muscle groups. In any case, we spend so much time isolating other muscles. We do hamstring curls, we do quad extensions, we do clamshells, we do hip thrusts for all these other muscles, but we don't give enough love to the adductor, which is responsible for 50% of the net torque coming out of the bottom of a squat. If you want to improve your squat performance, if you want to truly start to get rid of that knee valgus coming out of the squat, then do not miss out on training the adductors. Our mission is to empower hope to those plagued by nope. If you've been plagued by nope and have been told that you have to do clamshells, you need to do these things, and you want to replace that with hope and you don't want to do as many clamshells anymore, that's what we're here for. We want you to feel confident in your movements and confident in your being. If you are liking this content, make sure to subscribe, share, like, comment. All of those things help to get this message of hope out to more and more people.